Alrighty. Hello. It is noon again. It is time for our midday coaching and check in. It is a beautiful day here. It's been kind of interesting. It is Easter Sunday for those who celebrate, and it is a Saturday of Passover. I spent some time watching the online Passover Seder that they broadcast on YouTube and did as a fundraiser for the CDC Foundation. And it was truly delightful. I'm worried that the CDC has to raise money from people during Passover, but that's probably for another. that's, that's for something entirely different. Anyway, so we are here. It is Sunday. It is a and we are diving into week 2 of the 6-week curriculum. So yesterday, I'm starting to develop kind of I guess it's a curriculum for these talks because I think it helps folks tune in when they want to tune into. And as much I've been thinking about it, because I do all this business stuff, and it's like, who's your target market, and who are you helping? You're not Oprah, you can't help everybody. And I get it. You do really actually have to be talking to people, and I it's interesting. I've had a lot of done a lot of stuff. Like that's when most people talk to me, they're like, "Wow, you've done a lot of stuff." I have done a lot of stuff. And so I have a whole broad range of folks who actually watch this, from stay-at-home moms to dads who are newly stay-at-home, to dads who are who are considered essential workers and need to go to work, to moms who are doing that, to single people who are trying it out um, in what they are doing with their being at home. We've got single parents. I've got clients who listen to this. I've got potential clients who listen to this. And basically what I'm doing over the course of this 6 weeks, and every day in those 6 weeks, is to lay out the tools that I use to run my life, because I run my pretty effectively. And I am constantly getting asked, "Oh my God, Michelle, I don't know how you do all of that." And this is like, these 6 weeks, this is the answer. This is the answer to like how I run my life. And so, like, if you want some of that, just DM me and let's talk. I am actually a certified life coach. I'm a certified weight loss coach. I have done all of those things. And if right now is the time where you need some help with that, just DM me, right? We'll get on a call for an hour and we'll make some decisions. That's it. Okay? I would love to help, and if you know somebody who might be looking for this kind of help, I'm here. I really am. Okay? This is like, my heart is really in it. I'm very passionate about the things that I do. I don't, as I was just pinging back and forth with one of my coaches, and she's like, whatever you need, we're here. And it reminded me, I was talking about this, about passion and all of that sort of stuff. Her husband, who was, I think, my first coach, Walt, he's like, "Please don't do anything half-assed. Bring your whole ass to everything you do." And guys, of all the things I do, I bring my whole ass. So that's what we're doing here. This is these 6 weeks. Last week telling the truth, and this week feeling our feelings. It's about bringing your whole self to whatever it is that you're doing, because your whole self is beautiful. Your whole self is inspiring. Your whole self is a story worth telling. And I am here to give you some guidance on how to tell it. I would love nothing more than for you to be inspired after, watching any one of these half-hour segments, to go out and apply the work, because that's really where the rubber meets the road, as they say, is when, I say, think about this, and like, you ping me for a journal. Like, guys, just ping me for a journal. All right, I would love to send you one. And you like, and you do the work. And you think some thoughts, and you make some breakthroughs, and you move through your life, and that would be amazing. I mean, that is amazing. And then you go affect the people and be the change that you are looking to see. All right. But all of that action, all stuff we are talking about, big actions, little actions, making the decision that even though it's a beautiful day, you just don't have it in you to like rah 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 and get up and go or whatever. All of those actions, they come from a feeling, okay? And that's really what we're going to be talking about this week. We are going to be talking about feelings, okay? Now, I'm in business, okay? And when I talk about feelings, people kind of freak out and they're like, what do you mean feelings? I'm not going around hugging and kissing people. All right. I am like literally the most left-brained person you will ever meet. Ever in your whole entire life. Like, I have a creative side, but it is all like around cooking and knitting and that sort of thing. And I think those are very like left-brained creative activities. I have to tell you. And so there's lots of, I used to joke I have no right brain. I think I have a right brain. I just use it for very like kind of structured activities. And many of you are like that. Many of the people I hang out with are truly like that. And that's amazing. That's really, truly amazing because we have a ton to contribute. And one of the things that we can truly contribute is this ability to show people that we can feel our feelings and it doesn't have to be crazy demonstrative. Dudes, I'm a New Englander. I'm a Yankee. Crazy demonstrative? Have you met me? Like I'm demonstrative with my kids and my husband and my dog and my cats. But that would be the sum total of the people. And I guess my mom, right? And my brother and my sister-in-law and their kids. But feelings are not, we're not talking about histrionics. We're not, and those are definitely feelings. But we are talking about the everyday background feelings that we are feeling, okay? And most of us don't think about them very often. But it is by and large those background feelings from our continued habitual thoughts, all right, that gives us the results that we all found last week. Okay? Your thoughts create and your feelings create your actions. Everything you have ever done in your entire life is because of an action, whether it's tuning into this Facebook Live or having a kid or getting married or not getting married or moving to an apartment or downsizing or whatever it is that you've done. It's because you had a feeling. And what we do and what we're taught is that it's the things around us our feelings, and that is never actually true. And that's truly like that concept right there, that all those truths, all those nouns we found yesterday, the amount in our bank account, the amount of credit card debt, how much we weigh, how much we drink, whatever it is, none of those things are causing our feelings, which is amazing because I have some news for you. You cannot change inanimate objects, okay? And feel better in the short term, okay? We call that like when you are changing those inanimate objects, all right? So somebody we try, but not that you won't try, all right? I'll just put that caveat in there. When you change one of those nouns from last week, okay? So say you are 200 pounds, you want to be 108 pounds, okay? And you decide, I'm going to diet, and I'm going to lose those 20 pounds. All right, and you basically don't change your mindset around your weight. Don't do anything different. You decide to, like, I don't know, wire your jaw shut. My coach tells a story about how she used to daydream if she could get put into a coma and just be fed the proper amount of calories and she would wake up skinny, about how happy she would be. Like, that is the definition of, like, changing a circumstance, right? And having no thought changes whatsoever. And that, among, like all things we can talk about, is why diets don't work. Okay, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow. You can try and change the circumstance. You can take a geographic cure where you pick up and move. You can crash diet. You can go cold turkey off of booze. You can stop spending your money altogether. All of those sorts of things. Without understanding the thoughts that are associated with the number that you have, it isn't actually going to matter. Okay? Your thoughts create your feelings, and then your feelings create your actions. And this whole week, we're going to dive into those feelings, the positive ones and the negative ones, the highs and the lows, and the feelings that are in the middle, which is what most of us feel most of the time. Most of us are not crying all of the time. We're not joyously happy all of the time. We're not arguing with our kids most of the time. We're not, we're not in really truly depth of emotion most of the time, I think. We graphed that out yesterday with Ben about intensity of emotion, but I think most of us live between about a 1 and a 3, okay? To adulthood, we spike up to, I don't know, an 8, 9, 10 or whatever, but then we get ourselves hopefully under control and come back down, and we seek to understand how to modulate our emotional intensity. And the reason that we do that is because hollering your full head off at your kids doesn't feel awesome, okay? Crying at the drop of a hat doesn't feel awesome. But there are positive feelings that feel awesome, but we get afraid of them, okay? And we get afraid of our negative feelings too. I mean, we talk about this in our family all the time, all right? Being afraid of intense emotion. And if you're wondering what it looks like to be afraid of a positive feeling, Brené Brown describes this really beautifully in her book, which I forget which one it is. I forget, but it's a vignette from her book where she was standing over the crib of her daughter, and she was looking at how beautiful and peaceful her daughter was, just sitting there looking all adorable and sleeping. And then all of a sudden comes crashing over her all the things that could go wrong in her daughter's life. And she calls that feeling foreboding joy. Okay. And one of the things that happens in our lives is we not only learn to modulate our negative feelings, we learn to modulate our positive ones as well. And we our positive ones as well, we try not to feel them as intensely, okay? We are all mostly in on feeling our negative emotions intensely. When we feel anger, we are usually using that as a mask. We feel really deep, deep anger. We are generally using that as a mask to mask other super intense feelings and buff and modulate those super intense feelings, okay? But do self-same modulation with really positive feelings. And one of the most profound things of understanding the thought, feel, act cycle that I talk about is being present to your positive feelings, okay? Because the ways that you are going to move in your life, the ways that you are going to make the biggest and most impactful change, that you're going to have the best relationship with your spouse, have the best relationship with your coworkers or whoever it is that you're in relationship with, is by understanding and allowing yourself to have positive emotion, okay? But you can only have positive emotion if you have the capacity to have negative emotion, okay? And that capacity to have negative emotion, it's so apt that we are talking about this on Easter Sunday during Passover, okay? Because our heroes' journeys, both of them are a hero's journey, okay? And human stories are stories of heroes' journeys, okay? And if you think about it, the story of the Passover, the story of Easter, which frankly is kind of the same story, right? we use it to show us a hero's journey out of the darkness, out of the slavery, out of bondage, out of rejection and humiliation, and into salvation and into the promised land. Okay? And that is the story of human populations. Every single culture has those sorts of stories because humans are story making machines. And we tell those stories so that we develop our capacity to have our positive and negative emotions, to build frameworks around them so that we understand who we are and how we are in society. And we love a hero's journey, okay, because it teaches us the capacity to have our negative emotion. So who hasn't had shame and humiliation? Nobody. It's part of having a human experience. Having anxiety is part of having a human experience. And in any one of the two main stories that are intersecting today on April 12th, 2020, you can find shame and rage and humiliation. But you can also find compassion and hope and redemption. And the truth is we can't have one without the other. Whether we're going on a hero's journey about our drinking, our weight, our money, or our own salvation, and getting ourselves out of our own bondage and going to the promised land, right? Because when we develop the capacity to have, and we tell ourselves, and we understand what we are thinking, we can sit with what we are feeling, and we can develop the capacity to feel our own feelings. Okay? We can be afraid and not be afraid of our fear. And how do we do that? Well, there are lots of different ways of doing that. And one of the I guess easiest ways I've learned. I mean, none of them are easy. If it was easy to feel your feelings, everybody would be going around doing it. We would all be emotionally mature adults, and I wouldn't need to be having this conversation. The end. Right. But that's not how it works, right? This is a journey. This is, as I've referred to, an infinite game. So go read Simon Sinek's book if you haven't. But this is an infinite game to further understand who we are here in the universe. And if you are on a Buddhist journey completely detached from the sense of self, that too is a hero's journey of sitting and wrestling with Mara under the Bodhi tree, okay, and wrestling with those intense emotions to get to a place of relief and nirvana, okay? And that too is open to us. That journey is open to us every single solitary day. And I think between those three things, I think I have probably covered 3/4 of the people who live in the universe, in the known world, in terms of a hero's journey that they adhere to. But when we sit there with those negative emotions, we develop the capacity to have them. Okay. And if you are looking for growth in any one of the areas that I cover, so Monday is weight loss, Tuesday is drinking and other things that we do instead of doing what we said we would do. Wednesdays is work, Thursdays is incoming money, Fridays is outgoing money, and Saturdays is relationships. If you are looking to change your results in any of those places, the way to start is the journey I am taking you on over last week and the next 5 weeks, which is start by telling yourself the truth and figuring out what you think about that truth and then how that truth makes you feel, and being super descriptive about it. So if you're on my email list, I sent out a list of feelings last week to people, and I sent that out because that's the list that I use, like I have a thought, and I'm like, I don't really understand what I was feeling. This happened to me the other day. I was like, I really don't understand. Like, I had this vision of, I kid you not, working on my website, right, to get people enrolled in my subscription service. And I have this vision of the website as being this big old knot, and I have to unravel it. And so I think, okay, so I have to unravel it. How does that thought make me feel? And that's all you have to ask. How's that thought make me feel? Because when you develop this idea that your thoughts are optional, okay, I have to unravel it that may or may not be true. Okay? That automatically distance to feel our feelings, to identify our feelings. And folks, you got to intellectually identify your feelings first for most of us, okay? And that's totally fine. It is totally fine for this to be an intellectual exercise first, okay, in identifying your feelings and saying, okay, I'm going to look at a piece of paper to identify my feelings. Because where were you taught how to do this? I wasn't taught how to do this. This isn't feel not high on the list of things my nuns taught me about. Right? Preparing for my AP history exam, love you, Storm and Dan Dorman. Feelings were not a part of it, unless it was crying over failing, like history papers, right? And so, but where were we taught to feel our feelings? That thoughts created our feelings. We're not taught that, and that's what this course is about. It's about thoughts creating our feelings, so that we can go out and we can decide how we want to be in the universe, so we can be the people we're trying to be, right? And if you're already there, awesome. I'm so excited for you, all right? And I hope you're out there making the change that you want. But for the rest of us, we're still on the journey. And it's a beautiful journey. And the more you feel your own feelings, the more the journey, the more you're able to peel the layers back of your own self to figure it out, okay? And so that gets us into the capacity to have, all right? And we're just going to start with our feelings, because then we will go on a mirrored journey this week on our capacity to have, okay? And the capacity to have the feelings that you have looks a lot like sitting and feeling them, okay? But what does that mean, Michelle? What does that mean, Dr. P? It means sitting and feeling them, okay? So you look at something that's going on in your life, all right? And let's just take the really soggy garden, okay? It is almost the middle of April, and like the place where we're putting the new garden, I could like build a moat around the house. It's ridiculous, right? So the garden. And my thought is the garden is really soggy, and the feeling is frustration, okay? When it snowed this week, and I looked out at the garden, and I'm like, we're never getting those rocks moved. We're never getting the stumps stumped, like all that sort of stuff. My 12-year-old was like, but Mom, that's the poor man's fertilizer. That's what they say in Maine about early spring snows. It's the poor man's fertilizer because it feeds the ground. It takes nourishment from the leaves and actually makes tea compost, if you think, like leaf tea compost for the ground, if you think about it. Same circumstance. Two different thoughts, two very, very, very different feelings. He has a feeling of growth and nurturing and rejuvenation, and I have a feeling of frustration. Who, my friends, do you think feels better about the garden? Zachary, my 12-year-old, or me? It's Zach, of course, right? And that's what I mean about thoughts being optional. We talk about our thoughts and we report them as if they're the news. They're definitely not the news. They may or may not be true. And if they may or may not be true, then the feelings associated with them may also not be as bad as we think. The feelings are definitely there, but your feelings don't kill you. All right. And the process of developing the capacity to have your feelings is the process of understanding that your feelings really aren't going to kill you. It's sitting and understanding, okay, I step on the scale and I see a number and it's 205 and I'm trying to lose weight. And I feel like a moron, okay, and the feeling is stupid because I should know how to do this. Okay, well, lots of examples around this week. And the feeling is stupid. Stupid is a super easy feeling for me to access, right? Even though most people tell me I'm the smartest person they've ever met, stupid is a very easy feeling for me to access. I feel it a lot. And if I would sit there and conjure a thought of feeling stupid, which is pretty easy, I can think a thought of, I only have a handful of people watching this, and I feel really stupid that I'm here doing all of this for people, okay? And that feels If I sit here and I think about it, it feels very tight in my chest. It feels tight in my throat. I'm probably going to go back and listen to this and hear a pitch change in my voice. Okay. I can be so when I'm feeling stupid, it actually feels like pressure behind my eyes, and sometimes I feel like crying in frustration because I'm now doubling down on feeling badly because I feel like I shouldn't feel stupid, and I double down on the frustration, right? And then I can ask myself, okay, so that's where I feel, and then we ask the questions of what does it look like in my body? And it looks like a blue sheet in my body, okay, that goes from about here to about my xiphoid process, the end of my sternum, right? And it's cold and icy and it like seeps in and makes me freeze up. It's hard and it's sharp and it's reflective and it cuts me off from everything. But then what I can do is I can say, you know what? I am still here. I'm still here. I've been broadcasting for more than 25 minutes. This is going to go up on YouTube. I'm getting tons of views of these, even if most of them aren't live. And I can say, wow, I'm here, and this really isn't killing me. You know, this really isn't killing me. In the present, right now, the feeling of feeling stupid is not physically harming me. It's so not physically harming me that I can step outside of myself and talk about the reality of what I am going through right now, even though y'all probably don't see any exterior changes in me. I can talk about that reality and teach it. Because my goal is for me, because I have done so much work. Like, I know the why, right? And my goal is to teach this and share my experiences so that other people can go out and have the impact in the universe that they are meant to have. Right? We're all on a journey, and if I can help you make your journey even easier by helping you understand your feelings, then I am all over any shame or humiliation or stupidity. That even if I just help one person, that's it. It is literally worth it because I promise you, shame and humiliation is not going to kill me. It's totally not going to kill me. Because if it was, I'd have died in middle school, just like you, right? I would have died of shame and humiliation when I went to like a marketing group that I joined for. I did a 30-day pop-up marketing group with Frank Kern, and I put my my Power Group website in front of everybody, and they shredded it. It was like, and this is probably on our sixth. I keep trying and I keep trying and I keep trying. And people who are way better at marketing are like, yeah, no, that still sucks. Right? But I am all in on the transformation that my clients make. And so I don't care if I have to like put myself out there and get told it still sucks and go back and rewrite it, and get told it still sucks and go back and rewrite it. Because that is how I develop the capacity to teach other people to have negative emotions. And it's totally fine. It's totally fine. I think most people would not look at me and be like, wow, she's really screwing up in her negative emotions. She feels negative emotions. I really don't want to hear anything from her. I am human. You are human. We have negative emotions. And the more we develop the capacity to have those, the farther and faster and more deeply we are going to feel our lives. It's not going to be better than 50-50. We're still going to be miserable half the time. But when we're happy, it's going to be so much more happy because we won't have that foreboding joy. We'll actually have the capacity to have our positive feelings when we allow ourselves the capacity to have our negative feelings. So that's what we're covering this week. You are all beautiful and amazing people. I wish you the very best of luck on your hero's journey. I am here with you. All right, today is a day of freedom and salvation and awakening. And I wish you the very, very best today and in the upcoming week. I will see you tomorrow, guys. Bye-bye.